The Canadian dollar had been tied to oil for years, but now that we aren't exporting near the amount we used to, the Canadian dollar will suffer huge. Fact. Completely wrong. Okay, I'm going to cover this. I'm going to cover commercial real estate, and I'm going to cover the false narrative that our housing problem is all supply and demand. First, the idea that we're not exporting as much oil as we used to. That's our oil exports. We hit a record near 5 million barrels per day in December of 2023. And on May 1st, the Trans Mountain expansion opened up, so we're going to break that record. Like, this is why I have a beef with the carbon tax. You know, we're getting charged carbon tax for driving around. And let's face it, we don't have a choice. At the same time, we've spent $34 billion on oil pipeline expansion, and Ottawa and most provincial governments grant heavy exemptions to a number of sectors, including oil and gas, chemicals, cement, steel, and mining. And for context, the oil and gas industry is the #1 cause of greenhouse gas emissions in this country. Our actual addition to greenhouse gas emissions is a small portion of the transportation sector. Like, don't forget, we started tackling vehicle emissions 50 years ago. That's why you have a catalytic converter on your car. The greenhouse gas emissions of your car have been regulated for a long time. But regulating the emissions in these sectors, that's going to be a problem. I'm going to take this opportunity to rub salt into the wound of anybody who has a short bed pickup truck. The bed in my Volkswagen is bigger than the bed in your truck. Yeah, short bed pickup truck, roughly 5 feet 8 inches long. But just like this user, I can fit an air mattress in the back of my Volkswagen. An air mattress like that, which is 2.03 meters long, or 6.5 feet. And all kidding aside, if our vehicles were really the problem, the government would step in and limit the sale of things like pickup trucks for non-work use. But they don't really care. All right, on to housing and the supply issue that we suddenly have all over the world. Yeah, the modern monetary theory people will say that printing money and borrowing in your own currency does not cause inflation. And all the money that was printed for COVID relief, that doesn't cause inflation. It especially does not cause asset inflation. Just remember that. With that in mind, you should know that Monaco has a housing crisis. The population of Monaco is about 35,000, mostly millionaires. And they have a housing supply issue. Apartments in Monaco routinely sell for €5,000 per square foot. A studio apartment would easily go for €2 million, or about 3 million Canadian dollars. So what is Monaco going to do? They're going to build out into the Mediterranean. Yeah. Can't get more people into Monaco? Make Monaco bigger. Okay, back to our housing problem. Toronto planners mull allowing more offices to residential conversions. Why are they getting involved? Like, yes, I understand there's zoning, right? You don't want to have commercial zoning where there's residential. But really, residential where there's mostly commercial? Again, if we're trying to tackle a housing supply issue, having city governments involved seems counterproductive. Like, if somebody wants to buy this building and convert it, let them. Also, fantastic time to remind people that we have a problem with commercial real estate. Yeah, it ain't worth shit. And the problem's going to get worse. It's not just work from home. Now there's also AI, which will take over a lot of the grunt work, reducing the need for office space. And there's a lot of office space. How much office space? Well, this New York City building is going to sell at a 67% discount, which is less than its mortgage. Yes, this building was sold for $50 million, and it had been purchased in 2018 for $153 million, which is a 67% discount. It's funny how, when the banks lose money, they don't talk about the value of the dollar. Like, $50 million now is not $50 million in 2018. And what poor schmuck of a lender is going to take this loss? Oh, the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. Now, the building does have tenants, but just to give you an idea of the scale of the problem, they have 220,000 square feet of space, and their tenants are Battery Studios, which is a recording studio. I didn't even know they existed anymore. And AKA, which is an ad agency, and advertising is one of the sectors that are going to be really hit hard by AI. I've been saying it for a while now. Governments need to get on board with converting office space to residential. The more we allow a problem to sit and fester, the bigger a problem it becomes.